girls, to this year's edition of the What's Your Fantasy podcast, the first of the year. I'm your host, Ricky P. We got a full session for you today. We got Soap Peeps in here with us. Soap, welcome aboard.
Thank you, Mr. Pancho. Mr. Panchu.
It's good to have you. We're going to get to a lot in this episode. We're going to start off with a little presentation. We're going to start with our draft. We had our first ever live draft this year. It went really well. We're going to talk about some overproducers, people who have performed past their ADP. We're going to point out a couple of guys that are actually underperforming based on their ADP. And then we're going to wrap it up with the playoff picture in our league and some recommendations for trades, perhaps, from Mr. Soap Peepson. So, Soap, I'll let you start with some advice on the draft.
Sure. I've been doing fantasy sports for a while. Won a few championships, as you know. I won it all 2 years ago. So I see some new guys coming around. So for the new guys joining the league, and maybe some of the guys still trying to learn the ropes of fantasy football, I just prepared a little presentation. Hopefully they find it helpful in helping them achieve better results in fantasy football.
Very kind of you. There we go.
All right, so here's a little presentation on how to win in fantasy football. A little bit of effects there. So the first thing you got to know is just be able to sort through the professional analysis. There's a lot of information out there. First thing you got to get inside of Vagina. That's value-added game day information, news, and analysis. One example is you can join the ESPN Insider. You can read some of the Yahoo columns, or you can just read the NFL fantasy webpage itself. They have some information that's always up to date, injury reports and so forth.
So let me just interject. As far as Insider, some of the guys use SleeperBot. I'm a big Fantasy Pros guy, and I know a lot of guys use Fantasy Pros as well, and Yahoo. Who do you find is the most accurate? I mean, a lot of guys use Matthew Berry as well. I feel like he's 50-50. Who do you think? Do you have an analyst that you kind of give a lot of credibility to?
I just use my own logic. I like looking at the stats itself and just getting information on injury updates. And I run my own analysis offline. I create my own spreadsheets because I think most of these guys are just paid to say a lot of crap and they're 50-50. They're like weathermen. If they're right, they pat themselves on the back. If they're wrong, they move on next week's analysis.
That's so true.
In all honesty, don't really care for any of them.
That's so true.
Yeah. But, you just read for information and you make your own judgment. So, all right. So moving on. The other thing is you have to know good analysis. Oh, sorry, I bit my tongue. Let me repeat that. You have to know good anal. Can I just say anal from now on as an abbreviation?
Sure. This is a family program. You can say anal.
You have to know good anal versus bad anal. So for an example, in week 5 of last year in 2015, I think Miss LaShawn McCoy went down, and so did Carlos Williams of the Buffalo Bills went down. So a hot name, like this is a screenshot of a ESPN page. The hot name for that week was Mr. Booby Dixon. So, he's a popular pickup during week 5. For week 5, a little bit of boobs, a little bit of dicks. Everybody likes that. So
very good.
Sorry, I misspelled the name. Graphics department didn't do their spell check, so there we go. I corrected it. But what happened as of week 5? He only got 5.4 points. I think a lot of teams lost because of the bad analysis. Oh, there we go. My tongue is working again. So I'm able to pronounce the word correctly now. So, so there. So the third thing is have a good draft strategy. So first thing I say is avoid fucking yourself. And that's abbreviated for fumblers, unnamed starters, committees, kick returners, injury-prone players, and never second-guess yourself. That's the most important thing. So look at running backs, look at their stats, any guys that can't hold on to the ball, try to avoid them as much as possible. They're just going to get you negative points. Everybody hates committees. Some guys, draft guys, thinking or hoping one of them becomes the starter, but I try to avoid them as much as possible because you never know what the coach's decisions are sometimes.
So you want to go with the people that already have the starting job?
Yep. I'd rather get the surefire starter, and if he loses his job, at least I knew offhand that he's going to start a few games for me and get me points. Avoid kick returners, flashy guys that might get you the occasional points. Some guys love that extra possibility of a return touchdown, but I say, you know what? Look at the baseline numbers. The flashiness is just upside, but most of the time those guys don't do anything, and they're just extra dead weight on the bench. So another important point is to avoid injury-prone players. Example, Mr. Sammy Watkins, great talent, but always injured. Also,
Arian Foster rings a bell.
Arian Foster also gets you about 5 games, but when your season's on the line, doesn't come through.
Jamal Charles.
Yeah, Charles. Well, he's known to produce, but this year I think
he's had a few injuries. And just while we're on that topic, would you start to put like Thomas Rawls in that category now?
It's his second year, and I'll give him some time because he's known to bounce back, and he's been pretty good. I mean, running backs are due to go down quite often, but when a receiver gets little injuries and nagging injuries and they're made of glass, I'd avoid them as much as possible. Running backs, gotta flip a coin sometimes.
Sure. Yep.
You just gotta go with the talent. Injuries are gonna happen to running backs more often than wide receivers. So at least when you're drafting the wide receivers, you just want the guys that really finishes 16 games a season. And I don't care about the upside if they're missing 7 games a year. So
good point.
So another key things that most guys don't take advantage or think about is the free agent acquisition. A lot of guys spend their money unwisely. Some guys hold on to their money. So I say try the ass, which is acquire the starter strategy. So there's a lot of guys that just like, they just like rotating the bench and their bench players. Why? Because they're reading some article about some potential sleepers. So they're spending $5 here, $1 there for nothing. And they never start these guys. So I say, you know what? Sit back, wait for the injury, and then when a real starter comes around, you spend money on them. At least you get to use them. They're not going to be dead weight on your bench. So you're spending your money wisely.
Is that kind of what Is that kind of what Tommy was thinking with Miles Davis?
I think. Well, he's been a little bit off this year. Tommy's decent with his acquisition strategies, but I think this year he just read the wrong article. Probably he rode the hype on Miles Davis. I mean, if the Chiefs cut him, and then he got drafted because he needed the replacement for Lacy. I think that was a good idea to pick up Miles Davis, but for 30, probably too much. I don't know where he probably got that idea from.
There's a lot of propaganda, especially in age. I don't know who could put it there, but you see these conflicting reports, and it's just like a flashing bright light. Sometimes, a guy can make a bad call.
Yeah, same thing. Like last year, I believe Chuck Kendrick West went for $30 also. So, some guys just got to be able to make up their own mind about the information provided by the analyst. So, but then there are some guys that just don't spend their money. Like one team manager that comes to mind is Renzo of Team Pokai. I believe he just made his first acquisition about 2-3 weeks ago. Spent about $1 here, $1 there. But that's already like week 6 or 7. Now he's going out and spending like $15 on, I don't know, some player that's
Juwan Harris.
Juwan Harris, sorry. The name slipped me because, again, not an important guy. Probably going to be a timeshare, maybe a 1-week starter. But for $15, not worth it.
I think Carlos Hyde's coming back next week, so I'd have to agree with you. I think that's a bad spend.
But you know what? He still has over like $80 to spend for the rest of the season, so he's gonna start outbidding everyone. But doesn't matter. Too late. Too little. Too late. I believe. So
I think everybody's waiting for that last minute guy like David Johnson last year. But I mean, at this point, wouldn't you think it's already too late for that? I mean, do you think maybe like Booker or Hightower or even Kendrick West or any of the injuries we've had already, we might already have the David Johnson in the lineup already.
I believe so. I mean, I've been scouring the waiver wire. I think all the talent's gone. So maybe I missed 1 or 2 names, but right now probably not going to make a difference. So
you can't take that fat budget home with you guys. You can't spend it outside of the league.
Yeah, make it rain, guys. Make it rain. All right, moving on. So the other thing is try, when you're making your picks, pick shaved pussy. That starters have an advantage versus employed defense, thus providing upgraded scoring stats and yardages. So what does that mean? Look at the matchups, look at teams with great starting lines. If you want to look at the additional stats, look at Dallas's offensive line. Look what wonders they're doing for Zeke. He's leading the league in rushing because he has a great line. So
their left tackle, I forget his name now. It eludes me. I think it's Thomas Smith. Their left tackle is just a beast, man. He's just throwing guys around left and right. It just looks like he's playing with a bunch of high schoolers out there. Yeah, that line.
So again, because of the extra, bonuses that comes with having a great O-line, Zeke's getting extra yardage every carry. So that's extra points in your pocket. So, I mean, great pickup in the second round by Frank on that one. I missed him as the 12th pick. So next thing is game day decisions. A lot of guys have to wait to see who they're gonna start on any given Sunday or even Thursdays. So what I say is use your dick. So that's use your defensive information correctly.
Use it or lose it.
Yep. When deciding between 2 players with about equal value, look at the defense they're facing. For example, like in ESPN, click on any of the numbers, you can see the defensive rank of the team they're playing against versus the position. There's a screenshot of my current winning team, which is 8-7-1. There's also Yahoo. I don't know if a lot of guys use Yahoo, but I think Yahoo stats are much better. So moving on, a key to winning at fantasy is trade strategy. This year, there's no trades going on. Last year, yeah, there were a bunch of trades going on, but some of them are frivolous. What I say is when you're trading, don't be a DFT. Everybody knows what that is. Don't be a dumb fuck Tommy. What does that mean? don't piss off other teams, because then nobody wants to trade with you, even if they need something.
That is true. That is true. You got to spread a lot of goodwill out there.
Exactly. Another word of advice on trading, I say trade your assets. If you got deep bench with extra position players that, like, for example, Mr. Rohit Kumar, sorry, what's his name? Mr. Rohit Kumar. Sorry, I thought it was Kumar. Okay. He's got four pretty good wide receivers this year, but he's in the bottom. He's got Landry, Cooper, DT, and Marshall. Plus,
that's not even counting Enunwa, who's a wide receiver 3.
But with that lineup, you would expect him to be in the top, but he is currently 3-5 and scoring very minimal points. So his season is currently on the line this week. And he's still refusing to trade his. I keep telling him, spread out your points. You need a better QB. So, that's just a word of advice to him. And if he doesn't want to take it, he can go down with the ship with his 4 wide receivers. That ain't going to do anything for him.
Now, when we're talking about trades, I feel like there's a lot of guys out there that could benefit from a good trade as well.
Yeah.
Papa comes to mind, and here's a gentleman that drafted a nice team. He had a nice draft, and then he started off hot. Marvin Jones started off hot. Julio's been producing all year. DeMarco Murray, what a pickup by Papa. I think he got him in like the 3rd or 4th round, and he's just been. I mean, if the draft was tomorrow, I think Murray's top 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I say that today. Since then, Marvin Jones has fizzled out. His second running back, Doug Martin, hasn't played in 4 weeks. His team is losing. He's back to 500, I believe.
Yep.
And yet he refuses to trade. I send him messages, and it just seems like I don't know if some of these guys have given up already, or perhaps maybe you can shed some light on it.
Well, I think with Papa, he just don't like trading with putos.
Oh, is that it?
So, yeah, I think so. But he knows his fantasy. I respect Papa. He always makes the playoffs somehow. But
he sure does. He sure does.
But again, if he saw my presentation early, maybe he would have avoided Doug Martin, who's often injured. He's often injured. I'd avoid him.
That's right.
Scrub anyway. 1 hot year, 3 sucky years. Avoid him. And I mean, he has Julio. I think that's probably his biggest trade chip. He could probably ride the rest of the season with his current receiving core. He could probably trade Julio for WR2 and probably a starting running back. Running backs currently are very valuable. The new trend is that everyone's embracing in fantasy is this wide receiver run. But,
0 RB.
Yeah, 0 RB. I don't think it's working.
Complete flash.
The guys with lots of WRs are not doing anything this year. They're all in the bottom of the pile.
I tell you, I went and stocked up on running back, brother. I got like about 6 running backs.
You did. Mr. Ramos, we laughed at him at the draft, but hey, he's been going running back heavy, and he's making a comeback.
He's been winning.
So hats off to him. But I say always go with running backs. Always get the surefire, handed running backs that would get receptions. Put them at the top. Le'Veon Bell. All right, he might have missed 4 games or 3 games, but in the second round, that's a steal. So
he's such a target monster.
Yep, exactly. David Johnson. Why did I get him with the 3rd pick? 4th pick or whatever. I don't remember.
I think it was a trade. I think it was some kind of draft day trade.
Yeah, I traded up, gave up my 2nd and 3rd round pick to get the 3rd pick of the draft, and an additional 4th and 5th rounders. But I think that worked out in my favor. My only regret is not taking another running back with the 12th pick also in the first round. So imagine if I went with David Johnson and Ezekiel Elliott.
Oh man, what a combo!
Yep.
So are you saying that next year you're going 0 wide receiver?
Nah, not. I would wait maybe till the 4th or 5th round for a wide receiver.
Wow. Okay.
Out there. You get 3 top running backs, you're set. Look at my team. I mean, I have to admit, I have underperforming wide receivers this year. Mr. Allen Robinson hasn't done anything for
Allen Robinson. He's going to win me some money this year.
Traded for Dez Bryant. Got 1 game out of him, like maybe 14 points before he went out in the second half of the game. Got pretty much no production from Sterling Shepard or John Brown. So, but I'm still 7-1. I'm winning basically with my running backs, taking turns to produce, like Forte, Ajayi, David Johnson. Got Mr. Olsen at tight end.
How about your kicker?
Adam Vinatieri. He's
top kicker in fantasy.
So that's probably another good strategy, is to try to find a kicker on a team that moves the ball. Maybe with a bad line, they'll move the ball, they'll move the chains, but they may not score the touchdowns. Those are the guys you want, guaranteed to get you 10, 15 points. So, all right. So, in summary, get inside of vagina, have good anal, not bad anal, avoid fucking yourself, try some ass, pick shaved pussy, and use your dick correctly. So
that last one, I gotta say, is very crucial.
Yep.
So thank you for that presentation. Very helpful, and I think it'll come in handy this upcoming year. Before we let you go, I just want to get your take at the midway point on some of the guys that are outperforming their ADP, average draft, and then some guys that are underperforming based on where they were drafted. So let's start first with the guys that are performing really well based on where they were drafted.
Yeah. 3 names that comes to mind that were picked in the first and second round, popular picks, with this 0 RB thing. I mean, one of them is my guy, Allen Robinson. Took him with the 12th pick. Not doing much. I mean, partially his fault, mostly the quarterback's fault. Bortles just terrible this year. Probably second worst rated QB out of the top 32. Another one is that another player underproducing is Mark Ingram. As you know, the coach benched him the other day in favor of Hightower after the
fumbling issue.
Yep. So, but I mean, I don't know if that's to teach him a lesson. So it's still up in the air who's starting this week for New Orleans. But I say Ingram might start the game. They'll see what he does. Maybe give him 5 touches. Does nothing. Hightower takes the job. If he does something, they'll roll with him. They paid him big bucks to.
They did pay him a ton of money.
Another name that underproducing in the second round, Alshon Jeffries. I think he's just scored his first touchdown this week, last week. But I think better days are ahead for him. The Bears have been decimated with injuries. Cutler just came back, so he's just going to target Alshon the rest of the way, and definitely easy schedule coming up. So I think he bounces back. Robinson, I drafted him high. I'll probably hold him. I know you offered me Jordan Howard. Great offer, but don't really need any more running backs. I'm pretty set there. So Howard's just
man's rich with running backs. Rich with running backs.
Rich. Good with DJ, Forte, and Ajayi.
Not a bad trio. Now, what about some guys that are performing higher than than where they were drafted. Maybe you got these guys late and they're performing like RB1s or wide receivers.
Sorry, pause again.
No, it's all right. Look at your notes. I think you mentioned Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan wasn't even drafted, and he's the overall quarterback one.
Yeah. Matt Ryan, I mean, everybody expected him to suck for some reason. I mean, he's been known as Matty Ice, Mr. Consistent. He's been on the decline, but you know what? Tough ass schedule between week 3 through 6, I believe, and he played through it. Tore up some of the good defenses.
Seattle
averaging, Atlanta's averaging like 35 points a game, probably tops in the league. Sorry, can't remember the other names. Tired.
No problem. The guy that's overperforming, Jay Ajayi, I don't think anybody would have thought he would have ripped off 400 yards.
I mean, I took him, I believe, in the 9th round. I took him as a handcuff because, everybody knows that Arian Foster is not going to last the season. I was offering him to the owner of Arian Foster, for throw-in. Didn't want him. Didn't do anything, I admit, for the first 5 weeks, but that's because, I think it's just a stupid coach in Miami. Didn't know who to start. Jai, has off the field issues, a little arrogant. So I think the coach was trying to wait for him to mature a bit. But once he got the ball, he ran away with the job. 2 straight 200-yard games. I think that's the 4th time in history that's ever been done. So he may fall back down to earth when he faces tougher defenses. But Miami, I think, has an easy enough schedule going forward. So he may put up another 100, 200 games somewhere.
Hopefully his struggles begin this week at the Jets when I play you.
I don't believe so, sir, because the Jets are ranked number 29th in the run defense. So I don't think he will underperform this week. I believe he puts up 25 points at least, and I think your season may be done after this week, sir, Mr. Pancho.
I doubt that. Continuing on with the topic, another guy you had mentioned, performing higher than where he was drafted.
I would offer you some if you were here, because I know you like that in your mouth, right?
By the way, Michael Crabtree.
Oh, yeah. The other guy that comes to mind, Michael Crabtree, drafted really late, performing as a top 8 wide receiver right now. Good scouting by Pon, or either just luck.
Pon V-Rock.
Yeah, I don't know. But Crabtree's always had the talent. Everybody knows that in college. Maybe it's finally coming out. David Carr is maturing as a QB. Less turnovers this year. So Oakland's got a pretty good offense. So that's the type of player you want to have on your team. Lead you to a championship. Unfortunately, Pon's team is done.
He's not mathematically eliminated yet.
1-7. He's done.
Lastly, we'll get you out of here with this. Give me the 6 teams you think are making the playoffs.
Me, Riddick is gonna make it just by wins. Frank always makes it, partially with luck. I don't know.
Some people say he's the luckiest man in fantasy.
Luckiest man in fantasy. Every defense he's employed so far has given them at least 5 points or higher. Most of them giving them double digits. Only one time he got 1 negative points from a defense he picked up. So he didn't even draft the defense. Again, this week.
You must have seen your slideshow.
Maybe.
Must have leaked out.
Maybe I based the slideshow on his strategies. I don't know.
There you go.
That's 3. Papa's going to make it. And I think the rest is a toss-up. In all honesty, I'm not sure. Every team's got some need that they need to make some trades right now. I think whoever makes the first good move, fills the needs, plug up their holes in their lineup, makes the playoffs. Guys that don't want to make moves, going to fail. and just
I
pull out.
I just want to put this out there, as you just said that I'm offering running backs. I need a wide receiver. I offered Papa Jordy Nelson and a running back for Julio. He's yet to respond. I offered Rohit, Gordon Cousins.
In his defense, you're a puto, so he's not gonna trade with you. So sorry about that.
Yeah, but you just mentioned about trading, and I just want to put it out there that I got plenty of running backs. Some of these guys want to just watch this.
I think we brokered a deal. I was trying to help you out there, Landry for Gore. I think that's a great trade for everybody. You know.
I got Landry on my team. Team's easy, but that's besides that. Those guys got no upside.
Yeah, but Beasley's done. Des Bryant back again.
We'll see what he does in Cleveland.
Who?
We'll see what he does this week in Cleveland. He's got a nice matchup. Even with Des Bryant, he still caught 5 passes, 50 yards.
Yeah. Well, this week there's enough to go around in Cleveland, so Beasley gets 70 yards, touchdown, 6 catches.
I'll take it.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
All right. Thanks a lot, Soap. Thanks for the presentation. You heard them, gentlemen. Get your lineups in order. You need to trade. You need to spend that fantasy money, and you need to analyze and do the right thing.
That's right.
I'll see some of you in the playoffs. This is Ricky P signing off for Fantasy Hot.
Peace, putos. All right.